Today on our 2016 Volvo XC90, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Curt Class 3 Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number C13233. So here's what our hitch looks like fully installed. The Crosstube is going to be visible and it's going to sit right below our bumper. Now it is a Class 3 hitch, which means it's going to give us that 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening, and it does have a reinforced collar, giving it added strength and a nice clean finished look. Our hitch is going to use a standard 5/8 pin and clip. It's not included, but you can pick one up on our website using part number PC3. Now as far as the safety chain loops go, it's going to be a plate style welded to the bottom of our receiver tube, and as you can see, we're not going to have trouble getting most size hooks on or off. Our hitch is going to feature a 900-pound tongue weight along with a 6,000-pound gross trailer weight rating. Now, I do want to recommend that you always double check your vehicle's owner's manual to make sure it can handle that amount of weight. Now, Curt does recommend using a safety strap when carrying any non-trailer loads, such as a bike rack or a cargo carrier. Now, I'd like to give you a few measurements that will help you when deciding for accessories for your new hitch, such as a ball mount, bike rack, or even a cargo carrier. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost edge of the bumper, it's going to be right about 5.5 inches. Now from the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening, that's going to be right about 12.5 inches. Now that we've gone over some of the features and details, let's show you how we got the hitch on. To begin our installation, we're going to need to remove the bolts that are holding our lower fascia to the inner part right here. We're going to have 4 fasteners, 2 on each side. Now I'm going to be using a T25 Torx bit to remove those fasteners. And we'll go ahead and remove the other 2 on the other side as well. We are going to need to remove the trim that goes around our exhaust that's attached to our bumper. So if we come right to the edge here towards the center and we look up where the heat shield is, we're going to have a fastener holding it in place. I'm going to be using a T15 Torx bit to remove that bolt. And we're going to have one more that's holding this on, and that's going to be on the very outside edge going straight back. And that's also going to be a T15 Torx bit to take that bolt out. And when we go to remove this, it is loose, but we're going to have to work at it a little bit to make sure that it comes loose and everything is disconnected. So we just slide it back and we should be able to slide it out. We're going to go ahead and repeat that for the other side as well. We are going to have to lower our exhaust down, but I don't want to just let it hang. So I'm going to take a strap here to help support it once we take it off. Now on each side of our muffler, we are going to have a hanger with a rubber isolator on it. And if we look straight up past the isolator, we're going to see an M10 bolt. I'm going to be using a 13mm socket. We're going to go ahead and remove that bolt. Now that this side's removed, we're going to go ahead and remove the other side as well. Now just right above our muffler, we're going to have our heat shield. We are going to need to temporarily remove this, and on each side we're going to have 3 fasteners holding it in place, one towards the very back, one more towards the front of the vehicle, and then one at the very edge that's going to be kind of hard to see. And they're all going to be 10mm fasteners. I'm going to be using a 10mm socket to remove them. Now that we have this side removed, we're going to go ahead and take the other ones out on the other side. In order for us to reinstall our heat shield, we are going to trim it. And I already marked out where we're going to need to trim, and the measurements are in the instructions. We're just going to cut along this line. Now that we have this side cut out, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing and cut the other side out as well. Now on the driver's side here, you're going to notice that it's shaped slightly different. And this hump right here in this rectangular area, we are going to cut around that instead of going straight across. With our heat shield trimmed, we can go ahead and put it back in place. So on your XC90, it may work with the heat shield being trimmed per the instructions, but on our particular application, we're going to have to take that line that we cut and we're going to have to go all the way to the edge of the frame and follow it down so that we can have room for our hitch to come in place. So I'm just going to follow this line, and I'm going to be cutting off all of this section here. So with an extra set of hands, we're going to grab our hitch and we're going to put it in place. And the bolts that we removed from our muffler, we're going to be reusing those just to get our hitch in place. So we're going to get our bolts in place, and right now we're just doing this so we can mark the holes for the other two locations that we're going to be putting our hardware in place. So I'm going to go ahead and take a marker. I'm going to reach all the way through the hole on my hitch. I'm going to mark a hole where I'm going to drill in my frame. And we're going to do that for the other side as well. The hole's marked, we can go ahead and take our hitch back out and set it aside for now. I'm going to come back with a somewhat small drill bit. I'm going to drill a pilot hole on the locations that I marked, and I'm going to come back, and the final hole size is going to be a 9/16. To make it a little bit easier, I'm going to start out small and keep getting larger. I'm going to come back with a 9/16 drill bit and enlarge the hole. Now for the forwardmost hole, the one that we marked earlier, there is a small hole in there, and we're going to need to drill it out large enough to get our hardware in place. Now it's roughly going to be about an inch, maybe an inch and an eighth that we're going to have to drill it out, but we want it big enough just so we can get our hardware in place. I'm going to be using a step drill bit, and periodically I'm going to stop drilling and check to see if I can get my hardware in. Now that I know that my hardware can fit, the hole's definitely enlarged large enough, and we'll go ahead and repeat that on the other side as well. The farthest back hole, we're going to start there, and we're going to take our fish wire, and we're going to take the coiled end, and I'm going to start feeding it through, and we're going to want to have it come out the hole we just enlarged. You put a small bend by the end with the coil in it, it should pop right out. Now the coiled end's sticking out, we're going to take our spacer block, and we're going to slide it over the coil, and then we're going to take our 1/2-inch carriage bolts, and we're going to thread it onto the end of it. Once we have the bolt threaded all the way on, I'm going to take my block, I'm going to push it back up into the frame and push it back a little bit so the bolt won't catch it. Then I'm going to push my bolt up into the frame. I'm going to pull my pull wire and have my bolt drop out right here. Now for the forwardmost hole that we just enlarged, I'm going to take my spacer block and I'm going to slide it over the coiled end. Then I'm going to take my 1/2-inch carriage bolt, I'm going to thread it onto the end of the coil. I'm going to take my bolt, push it up into the frame, and then push my spacer block into the frame, and then let my bolt drop down just like that. Now we're going to repeat that process for the other side as well. With the next set of hands, we're going to get our hitch put in place, and we're going to take our pull wires and we're going to put them down through the holes corresponding in the hitch. And we're going to slide our hitch into place. And we can secure it down with a 1/2-inch flange nut. Now when you're putting these on, you want to be careful not to push the bolt back up into the frame, because we are going to have to remove the pull wire to get the bolt on. And we'll go ahead and repeat that process for all the remaining hardware. Our muffler is going to attach using the factory M10 bolts, and it's going to go right on the outside of our hitch so we can raise it up and reinstall the hardware. And with that bolt started, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side as well. I'm going to come back and snug up all my hardware, and for my exhaust hanger bolts, I'm going to be using a 13mm socket. For my carriage bolts, I'm going to be using a 3/4-inch socket. And we're going to repeat that for all the remaining bolts. Now I'm going to come back, I'm going to torque all my hardware to the specified amount in the instructions. And again, for my carriage bolts, I'm going to be using a 3/4-inch socket. I'm going to repeat that for all my remaining hardware. We can go ahead and start putting our exhaust shields back in place. Finally, we can put the screws back in place, holding our fascia to the bottom of our vehicle. And then I'll finish up our look at the Curt Class 3 Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number C13233, on our 2016 Volvo XC90.